everyone, it's me Lauren from Speak from the Heart, where I give you all things speech, language, and life. I am a licensed and certified speech language pathologist, and I'm so happy that you are tuning in to this newest video. Let's hop right into it. So if you follow me on Instagram, a couple of weeks ago I put a poll question up that said, what video ideas do you have, or what do you want to see in my next video? And I received quite a few responses from some of you guys, and I figured instead of making separate videos for each topic, I would just address them all in this video and do like a Q&A type of thing, you know. So I will be addressing quite a few questions today. If you want me to expand on any of these and make a separate video for any of these topics, definitely comment down below. Let's connect, let's chat, let's engage. So yeah, so I'm just going to my phone. I took a screenshot of all the questions so I wouldn't forget. So let's start with this one. So tips for first years on how to prepare for practicum if we need to worry about that. So that's actually a really good question, and practicum is just when you go off campus to get clinical experience. So you may go to a hospital or a pediatric clinic, whatever it is. Now the way that I prepared for my externships, so I did my pediatric externship first, and what I did was I reviewed all of my notes for pediatric-based speech disorders. So I just kind of had an idea of what to expect as far as diagnoses and treatment techniques that I may be, maybe using with the clients. So like my articulation course, I reviewed those. My language disorder course, I reviewed those notes. And because I didn't really know what to expect, I'm like, okay, I know it's with kids, but I have no idea what to expect. And also something that I reviewed, and I think this would be really helpful, were my reports from my on-campus work, so my on-campus clinical work, my reports, my feedback from my supervisors. So I felt a little bit more comfortable as far as writing those reports and notes and things like that, goal writing when I went to my externship. All right, number 2, flexibility as an SLP. And that's actually a really good question. So as a speech pathologist, we do have a lot of flexibility in our jobs, and I'm hoping when you say flexibility, this is what you mean. But I've talked about it before. PRN work is amazing, and PRN work is just, you may go and work somewhere for a couple hours on a weekend day. You're just working as needed, so it's not your main job. But it does allow you to work in a setting other than the one you work in primarily. So for example, you may be a school system SLP, but maybe you want to start diving into the world of acute care. You can get a PRN job in acute care and work a couple hours a week, but you're, maintaining your skills with that population. You're learning more. It looks really great on your resume if you ever want to transition to medical SLP land. I would also say that SLPs have a lot of flexibility as far as where we work. So you don't have to just work with kids. And I think when people think speech therapists or speech pathologists, they think, oh, kids. But like, you can work with kids, you can work with kids in schools, you can do private practice, you can do your own private practice. You can work with adults, you can work with adults in outpatient rehab and inpatient rehab, acute care, skilled nursing facility, group homes. I mean, the sky is the limit, and it really makes for a flexible job, because if you don't like something, all you have to do is leave and go to the next setting. How you found balance in grad school, especially if you worked. Ooh, sis, yeah, balance, wow. That's a powerful word as a graduate student. So I worked about 1.5 years in grad school, and I worked on weekends. I was a direct support professional, so I worked in a group home with adults with developmental disabilities. So I would take them out on outings and help them get ready, take them to events, cook the dinner. It wasn't a hard job, but I worked Fridays and Saturdays. So I'm in the clinic all day. Monday and Fridays we usually got out early. I would leave clinic Fridays, go to work until 11 o'clock at night. And then on Saturday, I'd work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. at night. And then Sunday was the only day that I didn't have anything to do. I would say the way that I found my balance was, luckily, most of the time at work, like after about 7 o'clock at night during my shift, all of the guys that I worked with were in bed, so I was just in the office so I could study at work. I really used my time wisely. Whenever I had some free time at work to study, then I would do that. My boss was very cool about it, and I would say if you have to work as a grad student, talk to your boss, let them know hey, I'm in graduate school for speech pathology, it's no joke. you know, can you work with me? And my boss was she was very willing to work with me. And so that's one way that I found balance. Another thing was like during the week, I made plans to have my work done by a certain time. So sometimes I didn't get out of class till 7, but I would do homework maybe up until 8 or 8:30. And the rest of the evening was for me, like to decompress, watch TV, cook, whatever it is I had to do. Like I said, I would tell myself, hey, Lauren, you're gonna work till 7:30 tonight, it's a Monday. And then after that, you're free to just chill, or maybe till 9 or whatever it is. If I had an exam, I might have extended those hours a little bit. But it is very important to give yourself a chance to just relax and decompress, because grad school is hard, especially if you're working. The next one we have, someone wrote networking. Networking as an SLP, that's a really good question. Wow, okay. It's not a question, but you know. So networking is very important. I say that networking begins the moment you enter into your first course as an undergraduate student, because you have professors. These professors have been in the field for a long time, most of them. So you need to establish good relationships with your professors early on. You never know what job they may be able to introduce you to, or they may know a supervisor at the location you're trying to apply to. So go ahead and form those relationships now. Go to office hours, make sure they know you, they know your name, you're performing well in their classes. But that's where the first, you know, networking interaction begins as a speech pathologist. Another thing, if you can, is to go to conferences and conventions. Now, ASHA is probably the biggest, but there is MBASLA, which is the National Black Association for Speech, Language, and Hearing, which I have been to, I think, 3 of their conventions, and I love them. But you meet so many SLPs of color and audiologists of color, and not everybody there is a professional of color. It's open to everybody. But it's a great way to network, you know, meet some people in the field who, again, could potentially help you through your journey. Another way to network too is to attend your state convention. So every state has a convention, you know. In Virginia, we have the Speech, Language, and Hearing Association of Virginia. Every state has one. Every state typically has a convention. The good thing about state conventions is that they're usually a lot cheaper. So for a student, it's a little bit more cost effective, and sometimes your university's NISLA chapter or MBASLA chapter will pay for your cost. So definitely ask about that. But attending those conventions is really, really crucial for networking, because you meet so many SLPs in one sitting. And make business cards. You can have business cards as a student. Write your name on it, write that you're a student, write your interest, your phone number, your contact, and give it out to people. It's just, to me, with a professional interaction, you don't want to say, hey, can you put your number in my phone, or can I have your number? Like, no, have a business card. Go to Vistaprint. You can get like 500 for $20, and you know, keep your professional interactions professional so people will remember you. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm very long-winded today. I'm sorry. I'm just in that mood. Okay. So my last question, this is a good one, is how to negotiate a contract as a new therapist. So this is a really great topic, by the way, because as a new therapist, there are some companies that will try and lowball you, because they're like, hey, you don't have that much experience, so you'll be okay with the minimum of the minimum, like the lowest of the lowest. But remember this, okay? You've done 6 years of schooling and you have a master's degree. You've done clinical externships. You deserve a salary that will maintain you and that represents, you know, all the schooling and experience that you have. My main thing is to go on Google and type in average salary for a speech pathologist in your city. Usually one of the top 3 links, I would say look at that and just compare. Maybe the average is, I don't know, 60,000. And maybe you go to an interview and they're like, yeah, we're gonna give you 35,000. show them that, you know, say, you know, I've done my research, this is average. And you can sometimes find averages for CFs as well, because sometimes the salary for CF is a little bit lower because you don't have your C's. But do your research and make sure you present that, because people will try and lowball you. It's not that difficult to negotiate, and I say to practice, because it does seem a little bit intimidating, because you're like, I don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful, but you know what you deserve. So, you know, practice a negotiation speech by saying, you know, I've done my research, I would feel more comfortable with this amount of money, or, you know, whatever it is. Google thebalance.com has a lot of information about job scenarios like resumes, cover letters, negotiation of salaries and contracts. So I would recommend looking at thebalance.com as well to see if there's some information that would help you. But it is a very tough subject, but always remembering that you deserve what you deserve. You didn't go to school for 6 years for nothing. All right, so that is all. That's all. I did get more questions, but some of the other questions I received, I probably will turn them into full-length videos because they're really great topics. But I hope this was helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.